Ever wanted to do all the criminal activities? Bank robbery, burglary, arson, being a serial killer? Well, today we're going to go over Israel Keys. Welcome, angry faithful. Yes, that's right. We're going to go over Israel Keys. And it actually goes into one of our other people that we actually went over, Chevy Kehoe, which we already went over a couple of weeks ago. And our new co-host of Nerd Sports had suggested this, Israel Keys. We were talking about stuff after the end of the Nerd Sports this week, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you ever hear of this guy?" No, I haven't, and kind of wish I didn't. But anyways, let us begin. Israel Keys' childhood. He was born in Richmond, Utah on January 7th, 1978. The second of 10 children from Heidi Keys. I'm going to get that wrong, and it's a stupid, simple last name. Heidi Keys, Hankern's son. Can't believe I got that right first time. And John Jeffrey Jeff Keys. His parents were members of the Fundamental Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from Torrance, California. Keys and his sibling were homeschooled until 1983 after leaving the Fundamental Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's a long church name. Anyways, Keys' father moved the family in a remote plot of land north of Colville, Washington, and Stevenson's County when Israel was 5 years old. Isolated from society, the Keys family lived in a one-room cabin without electricity or running water on Rocky Creek Road. In Colville, the family attended services at the church called the Ark, which is similar to white supremacy Christian ideology. That doesn't put any red flags there. Not one bit. But we'll continue. I hate white supremacists. Keys later described the Ark as an Amish-like environment during this period of attending the Ark. The Keys family befriended a neighboring family, Chevy Cole, who was later convicted of for 1996 triple murder in his adolescence. The family attended another church in Colville called the Christian Israel Convenient Church that taught British Israel. Hold on. What is this? I never heard of British Israelism. Is a British national and pestor doctrine logic belief that the people of Great Britain are genetically. Oh, it's white supremacy, but with church stuff. That miscreditation was an abominable and deviant. That Anglo-Saxons were the true rule over the inferior races, and that Keys later alleged that is more of a militant like. For years, some of the Keys children have been forced to sleep in tents due to their cabin's small size. To survive, the Keys children were made to hunt their food, chop firewood, work on local farms to support the family. As a hobby, Keys hunted anything with a heartbeat and freely admitted to skinning deer alive to his peers at the church. As a result, Keys was ostracized and actively avoided by other children who attended the Christian Israel Covenant Church, with one girl recounting that Keys presented made my skin crawl. Oh, one little girl got a little bit of there. She basically had like a radar sense of how evil this person was. As a youth, Keys admitted to shooting the neighbor's house with a BB gun, starting fires in the woods, and breaking into houses for fun. He also occasionally broke into the house of another youth who suspectingly avoided him for witnessing Keys shooting an animal. He's almost hitting the trifecta of... No, he doesn't have a three name. He wasn't known as three names. The trifecta mutilates animals, bedwetting, and three names. He's known for 3 names, and you're a trifecta of a killer. Anyways, on occasions, Keyes stole several guns from neighbor residents and was forced to apologize to his parents after their discovery of the cache. On occasion, Keyes, who stood 6'2", uh, that by age 14, good lord, that's tall for a 14-year-old, would also sell stolen guns to local adults. Around this time, Keyes' family provided shelter to personal friends and the presence of their son and daughter and Keyes' sister. Keyes tried to Keyes tied a cat to a tree with a parachute cord uh, and tried to gore it with a .22 rifle. The cat then began circling the tree before crashing into it and vomiting. It's horrible. Keyes allegedly chucked before nothing that the boy, who later informed his father, had vomited in response to the incident. Wait a minute, what? Hold on. Empathy that he felt that he was different from his peers who ran away from him. Upon this realization, he kept his increasingly antisocial behavior to himself, withdrawal socially due to being ostracized. Basically, it's one of those situations like, oh, I'm antisocial. No, nobody likes you. Nobody likes you. You're not antisocial. You're an asshole. Anyways, in addition, Keyes' mother began to noticing some troubling signs in Keyes during this period, when he began turning into various radio stations and different things. Okay. By his teenage years, Keyes had become a skilled and profound carpenter, building his wooden cabin for his family at age 16. He began working for a Colville construction in 1995 to 1997. Around this time, Keyes kept a journal from elder childhood literature with Bible scriptures, doctoring daily sins for which he felt shame, and such as lusting after his girlfriend. Soon thereafter, the family relocated to Samaria. Stephanie Hawking. This is in Maine. Stephanie Hawking. Let me borrow you for a second so you can tell me what this thing is.
Smyrna.
Where they collected sap from maple syrup production and mostly Amish community. Due to their mother's religious zealousness, the Keyes children were forced to secretly flee their parents to watch movies with friends who were forbidden to learn musical instrument as they were against God. Sometimes during this period, Keyes renounced his former Christian faith. That's so weird that people say that musical instruments are against God. I guess some people just, in their beliefs, and this is solely their beliefs. And I've gone to churches where they had a whole fucking band, and that's kind of redundant cursing while talking about God. But anyways, here we go. On one occasion, Keyes declared his atheism to his parents, both of whom have previously made tireless and constant efforts to please. After an intense argument, this led his parents to evict their oldest son from their residence, shunning him from apparent blasphemy. Then they then instructed his younger siblings, who looked up to Keyes, to never have contact with him again. Keyes then developed an inordinate interest in Satanism, with plans of committing a ritual murder. In his adulthood, in the summer of 1997 and 1998, Keyes committed a sexual assault on a teenager who had been tubing. God, dyslexia kicked in really hardcore on that one. Tubing with her friends down the Judson River in Mopin, Oregon. Although this was not his first sexual assault, Keys admitted that he stalked her from the tree line before very violently sexual assaulting the girl, whom he estimated between 14 and 18 at knife point. Originally planned to murder her as part of his satanic ritual, Keys let her go in the river tube he had abducted her from. I was too timid. I wasn't violent enough, he told investigators. I made up my mind I was never going to let this happen again. And June 9th, 1998, Keys relocated and enlisted in the United States Army in the state of New York, where he served as a specialist in Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Infantry Regiment. He passed a rigorous month-long preliminary course in the Army Rangers training. He was stationed at Fort Lewis and Fort Hood. Oh, is it that Fort Hood? Yeah, he was stationed here in Texas, in Killeen, Texas. Fort Hood, now Fort Chavez. No. So he was in Texas. Also spending some time abroad while stationed in Stephen Hawking, please let me know how you pronounce this.
Sinai.
Sinai, Egypt. Keys befriended several soldiers, informing one of them that he liked to kill. While at Fort Lewis, Keys served as a mortar team in 1st Battalion, 5th Infantry, 25th Infantry Division. I wonder if Chris ever met this guy. Wonder what. Anyways, former Army friends of Keys have noticed his quiet demeanor and habit of keeping himself. On weekends, he was reported to drink heavily, consume entire bottles of his favorite drink, while turkey bourbon. Keys was also a fan of hip hop duo Insane Cloud Posse. The hits just keep on hitting. Insane Clown Posse is actually a pretty good band. It's just their fans are really off sometimes, with a lot of other fans that can be off, but I digress. Displayed posters of musical acts in the barracks. On February 2001, Keys was arrested for driving under the influence in Thurston County. Words are difficult. We'll get back to this. Pursuing to plea and an agreement, he was fined $350. Keys awarded the Army Achievement Medal for his service as a gunner and assistant gunner in December 1998 to July 2001. Geez, he was actually Army Achievement Medal for that. Has a DOI. Keys was then honorably discharged and located to Anae Bay, Washington, where he lived in Mocan Reservation community of Naha Bay on the Olympic Peninsula with his Native American girlfriend, who he had met online, subsequently had a daughter with. In 2007, words. Keys started a construction business in Alaska called Keys Construction while working as a handyman construction worker. When asked if his murders started after his discharge from the Army, Keys cryptically replied, "Yeah, Na Bay was a boring town." Sweet baby Jesus. Okay. Keys targeted random people as his criminal murder spree started all across the United States to avoid detection, with months of planning before he committed a particular crime. He specifically frequently camped grounds in isolated location. He claimed to only use guns when he had to and preferred strangulation. This was due to pleasure he devised from witnessing the victim's loose costumes in the struggle. He claimed to not kill children or parents of children, primarily because of his daughter, whom he feared finding out about him and his crimes. However, police and FBI investigators were skeptical of this claim and suspected Keyes of killing several teenagers and children. Keyes did not admit to any murders during his 3 years in the U.S. Army, but he did admit to twice attempting to rape women. Once with a sex worker while on leave in Egypt, and another time with a college student he met in Israel. He is believed to have resumed his killing spree in 2001 following his discharge. Keyes had tried ties to New York. He owned 10 acres and a cabin in the town of Constable. He also confessed to committing bank robberies in New York and Texas. Might have. The FBI later confirmed that Keyes robbed the community bank branch of Tupper Lake, New York, in April 2009. He also told authorities he burglarized a Texas home and set it on fire. The FBI reported stated that Keyes burglarized 20 or 30 homes across the United States and robbed several banks between 2001 and 2012. He is believed to be responsible for as many as 11 deaths in the United States and potentially even the victims outside of the country. Keyes planned murders ahead of time and took extraordinary action to avoid detection. Unlike most serial killers, he did not have a preferred victim, stating that he chooses victims randomly. On his murder trips, he kept his mobile phone turned off and paid for items in cash. He was no connection to any of his other known victims. For the Courier murders, Keyes flew to Chicago, where he rented a car, drive 1,000 miles to Vermont. Then he used the murder kit, which he would like to call it, that he had hidden 2 years earlier to execute his murders. Possible victims that he has, because he's got prosecuted for 2, but he's actually said he's probably done 10 to 20 suspectively. Julie Marie Harris, a 13-year-old Special Olympics medalist in skiing, disappeared March 2nd, 1996, while waiting for a ride in a local church in Coralville, Washington. Her remains were found on April 26, 1997, in a wooded area a few miles away. The cause of death was not determined. Horribly was a double amputee whose prosthetic feet were found in Coralville River a month after her disappearance. Keyes, then 18-year-old, lived in the other at the time and was questioned about her case after he was arrested in 2012, but he neither confirmed or denied her killing. God. Anyways, another one is Cassandra Emerson, 12, another young girl from Coralville, Washington area who was reporting missing after the remains of her mother, Madeline K. Emerson, 29, was discovered in their burnt-out trailer on June 27, 1997. Cassie's remains were found in 1998, about 13 miles from her home. Keyes did not admit that his first act of arson was with a trailer in Coralville. Keyes did admit to investigators that he had killed 5 people in Washington state and was the subject of an active investigation by the state police and Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. Keyes claimed to have either been buried or submerged his victims in the lake in Naha Bay, Washington, sometimes between July and October 2001. A body was found, but their death was ruled accidental. He also confessed to the double homicide of a young couple, which occurred between 2001 and 2005. According to Keyes, the male was beaten to death and the female was fatally strangled. Both victims were buried. Between 2005 and 2006, Keyes said he had killed 2 further victims who were both killed separately. One was apparently dumped in Lake Crescent, Washington. Keyes did not have a felony record in Washington, although he had been stopped on 2 occasions for minor driving related offenses. According to reviews, unsolved murders and missing persons case and determine which, if any, may have been the work of Keyes. In 2012, authorities have identified a possible victim known as Lewis County Jane Doe, who was a woman found in the Peterman Hills area in Moulton, Washington, on April 7th, 2011, by a passerby motorist. In 2022, the victim was formally identified, by her identity was not made public. Keyes also confessed to the last one murder in New York State in late 2012. Authorities had not determined the identity, age, sex of the victim, or or where the murder may have been occurred, but regarded it as confession as credible. Read Mind Hunters inside the FBI elite serial crime unit in his use, and continued to miraculously study serial killers. Keyes idolized Ted Bundy and felt that he had shared many similarities with him. Both were methodical and felt as though they possessed their victims despite their difference in the victims' choices and modus operandi. Basically, their murder choice. I mean, Ted Bundy killed women. This guy killed almost anybody. He didn't care. Keyes went on his follow to animate Bundy's court escape, and was immediately seized by his guards. God, well, I'm going to do something like Ted Bundy. Oh, got caught. Wonder how that happened, because they've seen it before, you idiot. He also admires studies of other serial killers, yet actively shunned media attention for his crimes, as he was fearful for his family being labeled a copycat. For his admiration of Bundy and other murderers, he called Dennis Rainer a wimp for apologizing in court, showing remorse for his crime. Dennis Rainer is known as the BTK killer, but expressed admiration for killers that hadn't been caught. When asked in an interview about Robert Hansen, Keyes replied enthusiastically, stating, "Yeah, I know all about him." Before continue, I probably know every single serial killer that's ever been written about. It's also a hobby of mine. By the way, yes, you're listening to this, and no, I don't like these people. I really, really, really hate killers, and these guys are disposable. So now there's some people out there. We'll continue here in a second. We're gonna go on a journey with Dave. I had this date with this woman one time, and we were having our conversation and everything. And she was like, "You know who I really like? Charles Manson." I was like, "That's gonna be one of those type of dates." And I was like thinking maybe, oh, you like the criminal aspect and looking towards him. No, she was his pen pal. She wrote the dude. After that, the date went horribly downhill. But anyways, when FBI agents informed him of a 2012 Aurora, Colorado shooting, he inquired as to the status of the shooter. Hughes was also expressing mid interest in the mass murder perpetrator, James Holmes. I wonder if this is the same James Holmes. Oh, I guess we'll go over him next week. It'll probably be about 3 weeks. I might go over him. I got somebody else that wants me to cover on somebody else. But he was a American mass murderer responsible for 2012 Aurora theater shooting. Oh, yes. Okay, what I think I know what this one was. I think it was the Dark Knight shooting. and the guy dressed it up as the jerker. Anyways, yeah, he showed interest in James Holmes, but we'll get into that next time I go over him. I will go over him. Investigation and arrest and imprisonment after Stephen Hawking, please.
Koenig,
Keening murders. Keyes demanded a ransom money, and police were able to track withdrawals from her account as he moved throughout the southwestern U.S. During this time, police conventionally refused to release surveillance of the Cohen abduction. Keyes arrested by the Texas Highway Patrol Corporal Brian Henrys and Texas Ranger Stephen Rayburn in the parking lot of Cotton Patch in Lufkin, Texas, on the morning of March 13th, 2012. Investigators had calculated a lookout bulletin for a suspicious corp, which had been used at the ATMs to withdraw the money from Cohen's account. Keyes' cars matched the description. Keyes was stopped after he drove slightly over the speed limit. His vehicle was searched after the officers spotted cash stained in bright ink, indicating a die pack from a bank robbery. Cohen's ATM card and cell phone were also discovered in Keyes' car. Keyes was subsequently extradited to Alaska, where he confessed to the Cohen killings. He was represented by the Rich Coulter, federal public defender for Alaska. Keyes indicated in the case, and his trial was scheduled to begin on March 2013. While incarcerated, Keyes spoke to investigators several times over the period of months. He cooperated his first to an extent and confessed to some of his crimes, stating to wish to be executed within a year. Keyes said he wanted to avoid publicity. Yeah. He didn't want to have this go public to navigate attention to his young daughters might face, but largely stopped cooperating as his identity was discussed in the media. On Wednesday, May 23rd, 2012, Keyes attempted to escape during the routine hearing. He used wood shavings from a pencil to pick the cuffs, and U.S. Marshals used a table to used a table to subdue him. It'd be really cool if he actually used the table and just like slammed the table right into his stomach and he just fell over. I mean, it's possible to use the table. All right. Now, while being held in jail in Anchorage Correctional Complex on suspicion of murder, Keyes managed to conceal a razor blade into his cell, which he was not allowed razor blades, and he was under security restrictions of using only an electric razor under supervision. He died by suicide on December 2nd, 2012, via cutting his wrist and attempting strangulation. Suicide note found under his body consisting of OD to murder, but offered no clues about other possible victims. In 2020, the FBI reviews drawings of 11 skulls and one pentagram, which have been believed to be drawn in blood and found underneath Keyes' jail cell bed after his suicide. One of the drawings included the phrase, "We are one," written at the bottom. The FBI believed that the number of skulls coordinated with the belief of another of his victims. Now, in the media, there's a lot of, multiple true crime podcasts have discussed him, hence why I'm doing it, including True Crime Bullshit. I could actually watch that now, which focus exclusively on Keyes and his victims. The names of for the podcast comes from a quote from Keyes in one of his interviews by the FBI. My concern, the problem is nowadays, the more stuff my name gets attached to, more likely is to this somebody's got to try to do some kind of stupid freaking TV special, or you know how it is nowadays. like with all this true crime bullshit that people are obsessed with, Keys is also subject to documentary Method of a Serial Killer, recent 2018 by Auction Channel. Now that is it on this. I this God, this guy was really messed up. But yeah, this is Israel Keys. Thank you for all for watching and listening. I am while y'all are watching this, I'm probably gonna be down up in South Dakota and witnessing my daughter's graduation. You'll never find me though. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching and enjoy your time. And hopefully don't do crime.